Welcome to Wisdom and Wealth, a YouTube channel dedicated to helping you navigate life's journey with clarity, peace, and a touch of practical wisdom. Are you over 40 and seeking deeper meaning in your experiences? Do you crave a space for reflection amidst the noise of modern life? Then you've come to the right place. Each week, we'll explore timeless truths from Buddhist teachings and other sources that can empower you to live a more fulfilling and meaningful life. But before we dive in, do me a quick favor. If you're intrigued by the prospect of living a more intentional life, hit that like button and subscribe to Wisdom and Wealth, so you never miss a single insight. We aim to provide perspective that resonates with your life experience, offering guidance to achieve not only wealth but true wisdom. What if the challenges you faced, the heartbreaks endured, the unexpected delays, and even those who exited your life without explanation, weren't simply random occurrences? What if those perceived endings were, in fact, veiled beginnings, disguised in unfamiliar forms? From a Buddhist perspective, there's no room for mere coincidence. Every experience, regardless of its pleasantness, is part of a larger, unfolding story. Each moment, even the most painful ones, carries a message, not intended to harm you, but to awaken something within you. Life rarely speaks in loud pronouncements. Instead, it communicates in whispers, using symbols and synchronicities, quiet patterns that only a still mind can perceive. Consider that rejection you faced. Perhaps it was a form of redirection. That loss you experienced might have been a profound lesson in letting go. The universe isn't punishing you, it's preparing you for something your current self cannot yet comprehend. Now, take a moment to pause, breathe deeply, and gently ask yourself, what if this pain served a purpose? What if this detour is, in reality, the path? What if you were never forgotten, but instead, being shaped into something more profound? In today's video, we'll delve into this ancient truth, one that Buddhism has preserved for centuries, that nothing truly happens by chance. Everything belongs, everything is connected, and everything ultimately points you inward. Now, let's take a moment. If your soul is yearning for clarity, stillness, and sacred insights, where each video acts as a portal back to your authentic self, then please, subscribe to Wisdom and Wealth for more enlightening content, and feel free to leave a comment expressing what you hope to gain on this journey. And yes, be sure to stay with us until the very end, because a powerful bonus lesson is awaiting you. Let's embark on this journey together. Lesson 1. The moment you broke was the moment you began. There comes a moment in every life, often unexpected, when something shatters. It might be a word left unspoken, a goodbye that lingered for too long, or a silence that conveyed everything that needed to be said. In that moment, something within you breaks, not with a dramatic crash, but with a quiet devastation that only the soul can truly comprehend. But here's a truth that Buddhist wisdom has whispered through the ages: what breaks you isn't meant to destroy you, but rather, to open you up. The crack is not a dead end, it's a doorway. Imagine a simple clay vessel, whole, unremarkable, and ordinary. But once it cracks, light enters, transforming what once merely held form into something that radiates. This is the hidden grace of suffering. It strips away illusions, softens our grip on control, and reveals aspects of ourselves we tried to keep buried. According to the first noble truth, life inevitably brings suffering, but the second noble truth reveals that this suffering has identifiable causes. Through understanding, this suffering can become a path, not a curse, a calling rather than a condemnation. Pain is not the enemy, resistance is. When we fight against our sorrow, we become rigid and inflexible. But when we sit with it gently, as one would with a wounded child, something shifts. Clarity arrives, not as a thunderous declaration, but as a quiet stillness. The ache you've been avoiding may carry a sacred message, not to fix, but to feel, not to erase, but to embrace. I remember a time in my own life when trust was shattered. Someone I loved disappeared without a trace, leaving me with unanswered questions that echoed in the silence. Strangely, in that very emptiness, I discovered a deeper presence, not the self I wore like a mask, but the one beneath it, untouched by praise or abandonment. It was there, in the darkness, that I began to perceive the light within. So I ask you, what pain cracked you open? What wisdom rose from the ashes of your undoing? Instead of wishing it away, write it down, hold it close, listen to it. That scar you carry isn't your weakness, it's your becoming. If this reflection resonates with you, pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and consider subscribing to Wisdom and Wealth for more quiet teachings of the heart. And if you feel compelled, share in the comments what moment transformed you, or simply whisper to the universe, I trust every twist. Because here, we remember that nothing is coincidence. What left you wasn't meant to stay. What broke you didn't ruin you, it awakened you. The soul doesn't shine despite the cracks, it shines through them. Lesson 2, your delay is not denial, it is divine preparation. There are seasons in life when everything feels still. The world continues its relentless pace, yet you remain paused, suspended in place. Doors don't open, no matter how many times you knock. Your efforts echo back as silence, and in that silence, a quiet fear begins to stir. Have I been forgotten? Is this stillness a punishment? But perhaps it's none of those things. Perhaps the pause is protection, perhaps the delay is alignment. In Buddhist wisdom, patience is not passive waiting, it's trust in what cannot yet be seen. When life says, not yet, it may be offering you a gift far deeper than the one you were chasing. Timing in the spiritual realm isn't about control, it's about readiness, not just readiness to act, but readiness to receive from a place of clarity. Think of the bamboo tree. For years, it shows nothing, no shoots, no leaves, no sign of growth. But underground, it's diligently preparing its roots, stretching them deep and silent, anchoring them for what's to come. Then, seemingly overnight, it rises tall and unshakable. The world calls it sudden, but the soul knows it was sacred preparation all along. You may be in your underground season, invisible to others, uncelebrated, but essential. This too is practice. This is the art of surrendering your timeline and trusting the unfolding. In Buddhist teachings, this is patience without resistance, the deep breath in the middle of uncertainty. Take a moment now, inhale gently, and say to yourself, I trust. Exhale softly and whisper, in perfect timing. Let it echo within you until something tender begins to relax. When you're delayed, you're given the chance to see more clearly, to ask deeper questions, to refine not just what you want, but who you are becoming. This is how desire softens into wisdom, through waiting that ripens the heart. I remember someone who wept over a lost opportunity, a job they believed was meant for them. But months later, another door opened, and this time, it wasn't just about status or success, it aligned with their values, their peace, their truth. That earlier no wasn't a rejection, it was a divine redirection, a sacred not yet. So, what if your waiting isn't wasted? What if this quiet chapter is shaping you for something greater than what you thought you wanted? Ask yourself, what strength is growing beneath the surface? What roots are taking hold in the unseen? You are not behind, you are being brought into rhythm with a life that fits not just your plans, but your soul. If these words resonate, breathe with them, like this video, and share with us in the comments, what have you been waiting for, and what has it taught you? Let this truth settle in your bones, nothing is coincidence. The path isn't lost, it's preparing you to walk it fully awake. Some delays are not detours at all, they are the exact coordinates of your alignment. Now that you're contemplating the divine preparation happening in your life, consider sharing these reflections with a friend, or subscribing to Wisdom and Wealth for additional perspective and wealth accumulation strategies. Lesson 3, what falls away reveals what endures. There comes a time when something you hold close begins to slip away, a love you cherished, a dream you nurtured, a role that once defined you. As it unravels in your hands, your heart aches with a quiet desperation, asking, why now? Why this, when I gave it everything? It feels like betrayal, as if life has turned its back. But perhaps it isn't betrayal at all, perhaps it's truth, removing the unnecessary so that what is essential can be seen. In Buddhist wisdom, impermanence is not a punishment, it's a path. What leaves is not always loss, it's often a lesson in what remains. The falling away is not the end, it's the beginning of clarity. Think of the autumn tree. It sheds its leaves not because it's dying, but because it trusts the cycle. It doesn't grip its leaves tightly, it lets them go with grace, knowing that beneath the bare branches, life is still moving quietly, inwardly, preparing for renewal. The same is true for you. What you're losing may simply be what you've outgrown. There was a time when I clung tightly to an identity that no longer fit, a mask shaped by fear, by expectation. I told myself I needed it to be worthy. But the tighter I held on, the more restless I became. One day, life whispered, not with cruelty, but with kindness, "This is no longer you." When I finally let it go, I didn't fall apart, I expanded. Letting go is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's the knowing that what is real cannot be taken. What is true remains. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture your heart as a tree. Imagine its branches stretched open, generous, and bare. Now, release one leaf, just one. Let it float, let it go, not with resistance, but with reverence. This is the quiet beginning of healing, not in grasping tighter, but in learning to release with love. Because loss is not always a wound, sometimes it's space where something deeper can rise. So ask yourself gently, what have I been holding on to that no longer holds me? What space is silently opening through that release? Sit with the question, don't rush the answer. Let it rise like spring from frozen ground. And if life has ever taken something from you that felt unfair, breathe. It may have been grace in disguise, a sacred clearing, not a cruel theft. You see, the soul does not grow by adding more, it grows by letting go, through absence, through silence, through falling leaves. Remember, the universe doesn't punish, it prunes. It removes to reveal. What leaves was never meant to define you. What stays, that is your truth, and nothing true is ever lost. Lesson 4, rejection is not a wall, it is a turning point. There are moments in life when the door closes before you reach it, when an opportunity slips through your fingers, when a person you opened your heart to walks away. In the quiet that follows, the question lingers like fog in the chest, why me? But what if that no wasn't a punishment, but a redirection? What if the things that didn't work out were the very things that would have led you astray? In Buddhist wisdom, rejection is not the enemy, it is the compassionate wisdom of the universe, reshaping your path. When a door closes, it may be protecting you from a fire you couldn't yet see. The ego says, I was denied, but the soul whispers, you were spared. Not every desire is meant to unfold, not every longing is aligned with your deeper becoming. Life, like water, does not force its way forward. It flows. When a rock blocks the stream, the water doesn't shatter it, it curves around it, finding a new way. It surrenders its direction, but not its essence, and in time, it arrives at the ocean just the same. You too are allowed to bend. You are allowed to not understand. You are allowed to grieve what didn't unfold while still trusting that something else is moving beneath the surface. I once clung to a path I believed was mine. I pursued it with all the fire I had. But the more I reached, the more it slipped away. At first, I blamed myself. I felt unworthy, forgotten. But over time, in the silence that followed, I heard something deeper. That rejection had freed me. It had carved a space where purpose could take root. I hadn't failed, I had been redirected to something truer, something that fit not just my ambition, but my soul. So, what about you? What painful no shaped you? What door that slammed shut led you closer to yourself? Let the memory rise, not to reopen the wound, but to see how it became the beginning of your healing. If you are standing now in disappointment, take a breath. You are not lost, you are being repositioned. Trust the current, it flows with more wisdom than you can yet see. The universe does not block to punish, it blocks to protect, to teach, and to guide. Consider your most recent rejection and consider the ways it might have been protecting you. If these truths are starting to resonate, consider liking the video and subscribing to our channel for ongoing perspective, and consider sharing the channel with a friend. Lesson 5. The soul grows where comfort ends. There's a reason peace so often follows the storm, not because the storm was cruel, but because it was sacred. The soul doesn't long for ease, it longs for evolution, and evolution never comes wrapped in soft blankets. It comes with wind, with pressure, with moments that crack you open so something deeper can rise. We're taught to seek comfort, to follow only what feels good and light. But the soul is wiser. It leads us into places where the ground trembles beneath our feet, into uncertainty, heartbreak, and surrender, because it knows no real transformation ever comes without a little chaos. Think of the lotus. It blooms not in clean water, but in thick, dark mud. It rises through what others would avoid, and you too are made for rising. There was likely a moment in your life where everything collapsed, where a chapter ended, not gently, but violently. In the rubble, you thought it was the end. But was it? Or did something quietly awaken? From that collapse, did a clarity, a courage, a version of you that had been waiting all along come into being? This is how the soul works. It doesn't move in straight lines, it spirals. It returns you to your pain, not to wound you again, but to remind you that you've outgrown it. It invites discomfort, not to harm you, but to heal you through growth. The truth is, comfort alone cannot awaken you. The soul does not want you to simply survive, it wants you to wake up. So take a deep breath, close your eyes, and ask softly, what is my soul becoming through this struggle? Maybe it's becoming more tender, maybe it's learning to let go, maybe it's finally standing tall in its truth. Whatever it is, trust it, even if it hurts, especially if it hurts, because like the bamboo that must crack before it shoots upward, you are not breaking, you are being reshaped. Where in your life are you holding everything together out of fear? What if the falling apart is exactly what's required for the becoming? Pain is not the enemy, discomfort is not a mistake. These are teachers, quiet, sacred guides showing you where the old self ends and the new self begins, because nothing is random, not even the storms, especially not the storms. The soul knows exactly what it came here to become.